Not very far from Edgewood, in historic Frederick, Maryland, are the biological warfare laboratories. Here, men and women of science are doing basically the same type of work as in other government, university, and industrial laboratories. A combination of medical and public health research. While I was at Fort Detrick, I was able to follow partway through an experiment to determine the effectiveness of an agent. Volunteers are important to the testing picture. For many years, information has been needed on the effect of a biological warfare attack on man, so that we can have a better understanding of how to defend ourselves against it. The volunteers were a picked group. They had received psychiatric interviews to determine their maturity and reliability, as well as mental outlook. Medical histories and laboratory checks on the volunteers had been extremely stringent. Any history of a chronic disease, any allergic reaction or nervous disorder was a cause for rejection. Volunteers were given the opportunity to drop out at any time. I was to watch the progress of the experiment from the control room. The volunteers had been positioned in cubicles on the outside of the test sphere, a hollow steel ball 40 feet in diameter, in which a cloud of biological warfare agent can be generated. Through a series of controllable valves and a face mask, it was possible to expose a person in each cubicle to a measured volume of biological aerosol from the sphere. I said before I was able to follow part way through the experiment, the final part. As was expected, the volunteers were temporarily incapacitated, but within a short time they were up and around, completely recovered. They had the satisfaction of having played an important part in obtaining information, which would immediately be given to the Public Health Service to bolster our defenses against disease. Research has led to many scientific findings beneficial to mankind, such as a perfected vaccine for controlling industrial anthrax, a usually fatal disease of cattle and sheep. Still another accomplishment, protective devices for the safe handling of disease-causing microorganisms and their harmful products. Just a few of the many byproducts of biological warfare research.
At the U.S. Army Chemical Corps Proving Ground, tests were conducted using an F-100 aircraft equipped with an experimental spray device developed by one of the large aviation companies. One purpose of these tests was to establish the feasibility of producing BW aerosols in the most effective particle size range as a low-level line source from high-speed aircraft. Wind tunnel tests had shown that effective aerosols could be produced by discharging the BW agent into a high-velocity airstream. To confirm the wind tunnel test data, an aerial mission was conducted using a BW incapacitating agent. Flying at subsonic speed, the F-100 disseminated the liquid agent along a 15-mile line upwind of the test grid. Data from these tests were used to determine the effective coverage that could be expected with an operational type spray system employing the basic principles of the experimental device. This study showed that one fighter aircraft flying on the deck and dispensing 2 wing tanks of a liquid BW agent would cause infection in more than 50% of the populace in an area 125 miles long by 30 miles deep. 3 large aircraft could release sufficient agent to infect over 50% of the people in an area equivalent to a belt 140 miles wide, extending from New York to Chicago, comparable to the total area of Pennsylvania, Ohio, and Indiana.
When the COVID-19 began sweeping across the U.S., New York City quickly became epicenter of the outbreak.
We are dying. I feel like a sheep going to slaughter.
Some 240 miles away in a quiet town in Maryland is Fort Detrick, where the U.S. government conducts experiments on dangerous pathogens, including close siblings of the novel coronavirus. As a military research base studying infectious diseases, its history has been enshrouded in much secrecy. In 1942, it became the birthplace of America's secret biowarfare research facility. Bacteria studied in the biological warfare labs at Fort Detrick included anthrax, a deadly and highly infectious agent. During World War II, the U.S. government ordered 1 million anthrax bombs from the base. When the Cold War began, the CIA used the base to conduct secret mind control experiments on humans that often involved unwitting American citizens and Soviet prisoners. Shielded behind national security, military scientists freely tested cruel and illegal procedures on human subjects while searching for truth serum, as well as other drugs used in assassinating foreign leaders. In the end, the project ended in abysmal failure and it was shut down by the US government in the 1970s.
All right, that was the U.S. military admitting they were learning how to spray pathogens over cities. Now, doesn't this look more like the spraying they were just talking about? But it's not 2 aircraft. It's hundreds of aircraft spraying us at the same time. And I can only imagine what they're spraying. Slow poisoning of our people, and they'll blame it on disease X. Commercial fishermen standing by. We need help.